Alright team, so we're back, of course, talking about some Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade. We're talking the Yuffie DLC. We are talking the ending. So, before we even move forward, goddamn massive spoiler warning here. And what you're seeing right here in the background is, of course, just the ending of base game Remake. This is not anything from the Yuffie DLC. Now, before we get into it even further, what we're going to talk about here is out of context because I just caught the end of like a Japanese live stream of the DLC. So, I don't know what's being said. I can just talk about what's being shown. So fast forwarded to like the last, 15 minutes or so, somebody's live stream, and Yuffie and Sonon were in the Shinra building. They separated. Sonon obviously died. It seemed to imply that he was dead or dying. I don't know. He had the purple shit coming out of him, kind of like Nero, what we've seen from the DLC. I don't know if so maybe Nero is the final boss fight. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't rewind or anything. I just kind of skipped forward. Anyways, Yuffie leaves the Shinra building, then we see the Sector 7 collapse. We see the reflection in her eyes, her screaming and crying or whatever. No Vincent or apparitions in her eyes. None of that bullshit. Then it hard cuts to I don't know how much further into the future of Yuffie going through the Midgar wasteland, riding a chocobo, and I believe she's humming the Gold Saucer theme. I'm not entirely sure. It's a recognizable theme though from FF7, obviously. It also could have been some sort of chocobo related theme. It's one of the more quirky songs from FF7, but definitely recognizable. And then we get another hard cut, and this whole ending segment is full of these. It's pretty lengthy. We're talking close to 10 minutes, or 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes or some shit. It's pretty long, dude. Anyways, it does another hard cut to our group. It's Cloud, Tifa, Barrett, Red 13, Aerith walking through the Midgard, wasteland, walking down a road. Anyways, our group eventually catches a ride with a truck, and I could have sworn this was the same truck that Cloud and Zack rode in, because it's a chocobo truck, and I could have sworn that's what they rode in. The guy had chocobos in the back of this truck, but he also had wood railing on the side, which, looking at the FF7 truck that Zack and Cloud rode in, didn't have the wood railings, so I don't know. And actually, in Final Fantasy 15, they have this FF7 truck Easter egg, and this truck does have the wood railing, so maybe somewhere out there in a cutscene, a flashback somewhere, there is wood on this truck. I don't know, but it seems like I'm misremembering that. Anyways, the dude gives him a ride, and they eventually get to a fork in the road, drops our group off. He goes right, I believe they go left. And I believe it's Barrett that looks back and sees Midgar kind of on the horizon. He says some shit, probably about Marlene or something. And then it starts actually raining, and it hadn't clicked until that moment that it was clear skies and sunny throughout most of this ending cutscene. And so I don't know what the point of that is, because last time we seen our group right here at the end of Remake, it's overcast and cloudy, and it does start raining and shit. So I don't know why it was clear for a good portion of it and started raining again. I don't know. This whole ending segment with our group goes on for a while. There's several segments of them walking and talking for 30 seconds or something, that hard cuts to them in a different spot talking, whatever, and eventually the truck comes along and all that other stuff. Anyways, once we get past the part where the group gets dropped off, it does again another hard cut, and it's fucking Zack outside of the Sector 5 church. He's pacing outside the big double doors of the church. It seems like he's trying to gather his thoughts on what he wants to say, build up the courage to go in there and talk to Aerith. Eventually he explodes through the door. And the church is just filled up with people. It seems potentially maybe refugees from the Sector 7 slums and shit. Whenever that got destroyed, obviously those people are going to be without a home. They need a place to stay. There's a bunch of people inside the church. There's obviously that section of the game where we controlled Aerith during the Sector 7 destruction, so maybe she told people to go to that church. I don't exactly know, but there's people in there. And after we get the reveal of people in there, that's actually where it ends. That was the end of the game, the very end. So again, all this is out of context. I don't know what is said during a single goddamn segment of this shit. It goes on for several minutes. It was all in Japanese, obviously. I see people saying Zack was a part of this. That's what compelled me to go watch the ending. I didn't really want to look up spoilers just yet. I wanted to wait for some English shit, but people were saying something about Zack in regards to this DLC. I was I gotta watch this shit now. I gotta see something. I gotta know what the hell's going on. I don't know what this means. I see people saying that, we've seen Zack, so multiple timelines confirmed. I'm not denying multiple timelines. All we see is Zack pacing outside the church. Is this in the past? Is this happening right now while our guys are, leaving Midgar and going through the wasteland? Is it happening at the same time, parallel to us? Different timeline? I don't know. When is this happening? We never seen Cloud during that segment. We just seen Zack outside the church. But if we are going with the idea that these are Sector 7 refugees hanging on the church, then that would have to be within our timeline, and that moment would have to be taking place right now, right? Right after Sector 7 was destroyed. That got destroyed. We pretty much went straight to the Shinra building. There's a little bit of a detour, obviously, in Remake, but we went pretty much straight to the Shinra building, and then we left Midgar. So actually, would that confirm that there's multiple timelines, or would that just confirm that Zack is within our timeline? Because to me, that makes more sense than trying to differentiate whether or not this is a different timeline or Zack's timeline or a third timeline or whatever. It just seems like he's kind of lagging behind us. Like, we're already leaving Midgar, going to Calm, and he's like just now getting to the Sector 5 church to see Aerith. He's going to see the refugees, probably learn about the Sector 7 destruction, Shinra, maybe start following our trail, and eventually, sometime down the road, Part 2 or something catch up with us. That's a guess. That's just off the top of the head guess. This shit was pretty damn surprising, my dudes. We were told that episode Intermission, Intergrade, and all that other shit was going to be like the bridge between Part 1 and Part 2, but we didn't really know what that meant. And I could not tell you a single thing about the rest of the DLC. It was a 6-hour live stream that I clicked on, and I skipped right to the goddamn end. The last, again, like 10, 15 minutes or some shit. I wasn't 100% if we're going to see anything with Cloud and the group or Zack. I had speculated in the past that I thought we were going to get some sort of follow-up to the ending of Remake because they said it was a bridge between Part 1 and Part 2, which means we had to kind of get a continuation of the ending of Part 1, and they definitely gave us that. I just don't know what's being said or what it means exactly yet. So I'm definitely looking forward to like an English version of this shit so that I can kind of understand what's being said. Now, the English version isn't always the most accurate because sometimes the localization is different from what the Japanese is saying and meaning, but still, it's something. And of course, you have people within the community that like to do translations, so we'll know what this ending is saying and doing before long. Probably within today at some point. We'll probably talk about that like tomorrow or some shit. Down in the description, I'm going to link to the Japanese live stream that I personally clicked on. Fast forward all the way to like 5 hours and 50-something minutes if you just want to watch like the ending segment. If you want to spoil that for yourself, go ahead. Anyways, what dudes, that is the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you guys aren't most up to date with more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter, _YT. I'm a Discord. The links to my social networks are in the description and in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Low Gain or leave it like Cobain.